Hey everyone, welcome to Dad Casual, where full-time dads and casual gamers come together to discuss everything we love about the games we wish we had more time to play. Thanks for being here. If you would, please take a moment to follow and subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and your podcast platform of choice, and maybe even leave us a review. And if you have any questions, topics, or thoughts, feel free to email dadcasualpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And without further ado, this is Dad Casual. Hey there, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Dad Casual. The pumpkin spice and peppermint lattes are in full force with the arrival of the holiday season, and we have even more gaming news to discuss. As always, we have the usual Dad Casual crew with Andy Bond.
Hey, guys.
Preston Jensen.
I am here.
And myself, Houston Drugs.
Whoa. Okay.
Okay.
We do not endorse or condone the use of non-prescription drugs to alter your state of mind here on Dad Casual. Keep it clean.
We also won't judge you.
So we should
no judgment.
Let the world,
not to your face at least. So
we should let the world know that. So we follow along a little bit with we have a Google Doc that we follow along with, and we try to like the Ron Burgundy style, like mess with the teleprompter. So that's what happened there.
What do you mean? What happened? I mean that was natural, man. It was just flowing.
Supernatural.
So, guys, welcome back from a somewhat hectic and long Thanksgiving break. How was it for you guys?
Yeah. Oh man, it was awesome. I got to travel to Nashville to visit some family. We did a early Christmas, literally right after Thanksgiving was over. We drove up to Nashville and spent some time with my wife's family. So that is done. I don't have to
knocked it out.
We had a great time. It's not, knocked it out makes it sound like it was a checklist thing. It really was a great time. But now I'm excited to spend time with friends and then later my family.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, we hung out here. My mom catered for Thanksgiving, which was super helpful. We didn't have to make anything. Killed
it too. It was good.
Oh yeah, you were there.
I was.
So we didn't have to make anything. The Bonds came over. Michelle got off work, Michelle Bond, and was able to join us, which is always a treat.
Oh, she's like a shift work nurse, right?
Yeah. She works delivering babies. And so she got put on call that day because there's not a lot of people scheduling to have their baby via like C-section. Some people actually schedule on Thanksgiving Day. People don't want to do that.
Interesting.
Makes sense. And then we did a little Black Friday shopping with my mother-in-law.
Ooh, did you get anything good that wasn't a secret Christmas present? Yeah,
we got some our 6th Christmas tree.
6?
Which is fun. Yep.
Like after 5, 6?
So,
wow.
Yep.
It's just the number of Satan.
Oh man, dang.
I mean, Christmas is a pagan holiday.
Yeah, there you go. And Santa kind of spells Satan. But
ooh. Oh man, you heard it here first, folks.
We're full of hot takes.
But yeah, so my wife and I love Christmas, so we try and put Christmas trees in each of our rooms and our offices, and now in Rhett's room. So Christine moved her small tree to Rhett's room, and she needed a new one for her office. So that's what we did. And I don't know if you guys even know this, but I love collecting Christmas Village stuff.
Like model train, like that kind of Christmas Village.
Yep.
Interesting.
And so Big Lots actually carries some of the cool ones, and they move and they light up and all that fun stuff. So I picked up a couple of those. And Rhett got this. Rhett is an only child, and we could not have any more kids. And so Rhett found this, what is it called? A penguin. You know those toys that you talk and then they talk back? They say the same thing back? Mm-hmm. I was like, we got Rhett a sibling. because he was in Big Lots talking to this thing, and it was talking back to him, so we had to buy it. And he has carried it around ever since. And he just talks to it, and he's like, all right, this is how I brush my teeth. And the little thing goes, this is how I brush my teeth. No, but it's helping him like behave, do things quicker. It's really great. So
all right. That parenting hack right there.
Yeah, nice little parenting hack. So
I bet it's working on like his speaking too a little. I mean, because he's hearing himself back.
Yeah, for sure. So it's a fun little toy. It doesn't work in the car, which is great. Because it hears the hum of the road and doesn't know when we're starting to talk. And I'm like,
what a blessing.
God.
What a blessing.
So, yeah, that's what we did.
Nice.
What about you, Houston?
Yeah, we spent some time in Arkansas. That's where my wife's family kind of congregates. That's where her grandparents live, and everybody kind of just goes there because they all live over the country. So it was nice to just kind of like be in I think I said the Ozarks. It was the Ouachita Mountains, pretty close, but nice. Not exactly the same, but still nice, kind of like hill country. Nice fall colors that we don't get here in Louisiana. It was really foggy, but it was still really nice up there. Just kind of, just see family, eat a lot of food, just do a whole lot of nothing. It's great.
Yeah, it was crazy. When I was driving up to Nashville, I was like, the trees look amazing. I was like, this is, everyone makes fun of the foliage. Everybody wants to talk about the foliage. And then when we left and we're driving down, I was like, all the leaves are gone. We like must have caught the
last part,
because like the leaves were on the ground by the time we came back.
Yeah, and for anybody that lives north of Louisiana that doesn't know what we're referring to while we're so obsessed with the leaves, is because everything just goes from green to brown to nothing here. We don't get anything in between. So it's always nice when we get to see like actual fall colors. It's really fun.
Yeah, it was fun. And I had a good, are you guys feeling the Christmas season? Are you like,
oh yeah.
Sometimes it's hard for me to like, it takes a minute for me to get into it. I find cold weather is finally what does it for me. And we got a little bit of cold weather when going up there. And so I'm excited.
Andy, I forgot to tell you this. As soon as you guys left, Andy and his family, for those who don't know, hung out a little after lunch, and we just played some games and hung out. As soon as you guys walked out the door, Christine goes, take all the Thanksgiving stuff down. And she went around the house, taking all the fall stuff down, all the Thanksgiving stuff. And she was like, tomorrow we're putting up Christmas stuff.
Yeah, man. Your house is Christmased out too. I saw a picture.
Awesome.
It's wild.
Yeah, we are. Ours is all Christmased up too. We have the tree. We have everything. I'm very frustrated. I don't know if any dads out there also struggle with like, I hate when like we have a garland and we have string lights and things like that. And if one light bulb goes out, the whole thing goes out. And then I'm trying to like swap the bulbs to find which one went out.
Yes.
And like,
you got the old lights, bro.
Worst.
You got the lights that are running series. You got to get the ones that are running in parallel.
Listen, man. I thought I had that and I obviously did not. And I don't know. I don't know what to say.
I think most new strands, I think you just need to update. I think most new ones are like that.
Even my Christmas tree has a few like blank spots, but it didn't fully go out.
Yeah.
So I obviously have the right kind of Christmas tree, but I think we may be on its last legs too.
Yeah. Yeah. We just started decorating today. So my wife is super into Christmas as well. And she's making the house look awesome right now. So we're feeling it. Yeah.
Nice.
I love it.
But yeah, so let's go ahead and move on. What have you guys been playing over the past week? Did you get time to like game over Thanksgiving, or just in the last time since we met? Like what's going on?
I've been playing, and we'll talk about it a little more in detail here in a bit, but Modern Warfare DMZ, it's part of Warzone, and been playing with some friends, and that's been a blast. So that's all I've really been playing lately.
So awesome. So you got to go into. So I've played Warzone a lot, and I've played obviously regular Call of Duty multiplayer a lot. What's DMZ and how is it different?
Yeah,
and I know it is free, right? It's part of the like free to play with Warzone.
Yeah, it is. So basically, what I'll read from the Call of Duty website just real quick to explain what it is. Sorry, I had it right here. No, I don't know where it is, but it's basically Warzone. And you're trying to be to extract, though, rather than being the last man standing or the last team standing, you are just trying to get in and out. So basically, throughout the whole map, I don't know if it's the same as the Warzone map. I honestly haven't played the new Warzone yet. This is the only part.
I have the description here if you want me to read it real quick.
Yeah, go ahead and read that real fast.
DMZ is an open-world, narrative-focused extraction mode where operator squads have free reign to complete faction-based missions, take on additional side objectives, engage with enemy operators or AI combatants, and search for valuable items, all while fighting to survive toward exfiltration.
Yep. So basically,
it's like a PvE mode.
Yeah. So you start out
also with other players, like there's other players in the map too.
Okay. Yes. So there's real players in the map, and then there's whatever you want to call it, AI or
a little bit like Fortnite, how like there are areas of the map where there would be like Star Wars characters.
Exactly.
Destiny plays like that as well. So it's like you go into like these semi-open worlds, but then like you're with other players, but you could also be in a team, and then you can like kind of also do missions together, but not really. Yeah.
So
but this is still rounds. Like it is like a last man standing, like Warzone.
Well, no. So that's the thing. Like, so I just played before we jumped on here. So basically, like you start with nothing, right? You just go in and you're like, here we go, and you find weapons and things like that, and then you get money and you can go to buy stations and all of that. But then you can extract with everything you have for the next round.
Okay.
So if I have like a badass gun or so you start out with like one armor plate, and you can upgrade that or find it and get up to 3 armor plates at a time. So if you leave with 3 armor plates, you get the next round. You start with 3 armor plates, which is
so. What's the objective? Is it like a deathmatch thing, or is it like a high score thing, or what?
So what makes it fun for me is there's missions. So you're trying to get through the missions, gaining XP is all you're really doing and all of that. But it's much more fun in the way of not just trying to survive, in my opinion. And in the last round, right before this, before we started the podcast, we actually ran into another team. And with the new voice chat, it's proximity voice chat.
Oh, yeah.
And we were like, hey, we're cool. We're just trying to extract. And they're like, us too. So we all jumped on the plane to extract, or the helicopter.
Cool.
Yeah, we were like, we're not going to shoot you. And they were like, okay, cool. And so the six of us, you could have at any point, you could be like, even when you're extracting, you could shoot them in the head if you wanted to.
Oof. Oh, wow.
So you're putting some trust in these people, but
there's not like if you die, you're not out. It's not like that.
No, if you die, you're out of that, and you lose everything you had.
Oh,
so then the next round.
Gotcha.
Oh no, but you still get to go to the next round.
There's always rounds. Yeah, but you're trying to complete missions, which gains XP, which in other parts of the game you could use to, upgrade or whatever you want.
This sounds cool.
It's really cool. I like it a lot. It's definitely a new take on, not deathmatch, but like the Warzone type of thing.
Yeah, it's like perpetual.
Yeah, and that's the cool part. And then you might win 3 matches or extract 3 matches because you're not winning necessarily. You're only extracting or you're not. So that's your win, that's your lose. So
that's
you could literally land or get dropped in and then just go straight to the extraction if you wanted.
Nice.
There is a timer of 20 minutes. So it's a 20-minute game, if you will.
Okay. Man, we're going to have to get you to do like a formal review because you're the only one so far that's played Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe like another week or so, and you feel like you may have had enough experience to like kind of give a pretty honest review about it.
Yeah.
I think once you've given enough time to like because it sounds like there's so many modes. There's the campaign, there's Warzone, there's DMZ, and then whatever else. So,
yeah. And I feel like I'm like 80-90% done with the campaign too.
Oh, that's awesome. So maybe you could finish even before next time we do it. That'd be cool.
Nice. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Me too. That's awesome. I'm going to have to jump in. I'll download it. I've got the extra storage space.
Nice. So Andy, what have you been playing? I think I know most of the answer.
I'm still on God of War Ragnarok. I've been really trying to focus on that. I really want to finish it so that we can do our spoiler recording. But I'm just with the Thanksgiving holiday, this week got interrupted. I went out of town. But before I left, and I did beat, so I've now beaten 3 Berserkers in the game. Very challenging.
That's awesome.
And I'm very proud. I did at one point, I did want to talk about this. I did feel a little bit like I was struggling with one. And I was like, Noah, my son, was sitting next to me watching. This game is interesting because like the executions are probably the only thing that I think are like, I don't know if I want my 8-year-old to see this yet. Yeah. But other than that, just the regular combat doesn't feel, especially on a boss fight. I'd
agree because most of the enemies are not human. They're either monsters human. Or like undead things or like.
Now there are some things that I still, I don't know. But so I was okay with him watching me as I was trying, and he watched me die twice with like 1% health left on the boss. It was very frustrating. And there was this one that I was like, this is cheap. This feels cheap is what I kept telling him. I was like it was clearly like it was tracking me like in a way that I felt like it wasn't AI. It was just being cheap anyway. But and then I was like, you know what you could do? And I was like, let me go upgrade some things. And I went to upgrade, and then I was like, oh yeah, they've got these resurrection stones.
Yep.
And then once I bought the resurrection stones, which are like these, if you die one time, you can be brought back to life with health. And then there was a superior one, which is like a lot of health, but it cost me. And I was like, okay, I'll pay it, whatever. Mm-hmm. I beat it the first try with that stone. And I was like, it kind of took the wind out of my sails a little bit. Like I was like, I feel like I earned it because the game put this mechanic in. And maybe that's okay because to me, that's like the later bosses might be so hard that it won't feel cheap. It'll be like, no, you definitely will want that.
Yeah, the Berserkers are like this game's version of the Valkyries. They're like the super bosses that are like just the challenge bosses. So like I think it's okay to kind of use whatever you have at your disposal.
Yeah. And I've also unlocked one of the secrets, a major secret in the game, and got some new abilities and got some things that I can do. And that really opened up the rest of the map for me. Gave me some things that I could do to go back to areas that I wanted to go to before. And I've really just kind of been doing that, as well as exploring Loki's story in the main campaign a little more. So there's a lot going on. I'm really excited to get back to it though. So that's where I'm at right now. I mainly just did a lot of optional content. I haven't gotten too much farther in the campaign, but I mean, even the side quests are stellar. So
yes, big agree. And that's pretty much what I've been playing too. So I won't rattle on about like all the things that I'm doing, but I've beaten the game. I'm in the post game, and I'm kind of just exploring all the stuff I missed during the main game. So still having a lot of fun with it. Probably going to put quite a few more hours into it. I may try to 100% it. We'll see.
Ooh.
But speaking of God of War Ragnarok, let's go ahead into our first little story. So this was from a Kotaku article by Levi Winslow, but it's in referencing to the God of War spoiler cast that Kind of Funny Games did with the God of War director Eric Williams from Sony Santa Monica. Yeah.
Bro, can we get to that point? Can we have directors of video games come on our podcast?
Listen, let's just throw it out there. Eric Williams, Corey Barlog, if one of you guys wants to come talk to us, let's make it happen. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do a quick Zoom call.
Stop being cowards and just come on the show already.
Dang.
It's what the public wants.
We need to find out if they're dads.
Yeah.
I think they both are.
If they give me a free game code, I promise to play it.
For the children. Do it for the children.
Listen, it's Christmas. You already have our money, so we've already effectively paid you. So come on the show. But anyway, so this article from Levi Winslow from Kotaku says, it's a quote from director Eric Williams. It says, "Hey, you guys can make it happen." And he said this after the Kind of Funny Games joked about him playing the 1997 PlayStation classic Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And I can finish reading the quote, but this is in reference to, like, he says, like, that's like his like comfort food game after he finishes making a God of War game, because he's been on the team since like I think the God of War 2 back in like 2008 or whatever. And he says, like, every time we finish a game, I'd go play Symphony of the Night. And it says, now that Ragnarok had finished, so you have the audience out here, the world, I don't know what I'm doing next, but if somebody gets me the Castlevania license, Sony Santa Monica, in brackets, would love to make that. And I think he kind of said it jokingly. But I think that's an interesting take that he really loves that game so much, and that that game hasn't had a new entry since 2014.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Konami's doing with it, but that seems like a kind of a cool notion.
I mean, that's the interesting thing too about just Konami in general. Konami's not in a great place right now. They hold the license for like what's it called? Sorry, Metal Gear Solid, right? Or they still do, right?
Yeah, because they essentially fired Kojima from his own company.
Yeah, but they don't have Kojima. And
Correct.
So that game is in this weird limbo state where they tried to make Metal Gear survive, and it was like, well, this isn't Metal Gear. And then all of their other like Silent Hill properties and things, they're in a weird place right now where they cannot be doing, like financially, they cannot be doing well unless they have some game in their pocket that we don't know about. And I'm like, one of the biggest games in the world and game directors says straight up, I would love to make a game with your license that you own. I think that's newsworthy. Yeah, I think, man, come on.
It's such a huge implication, though, because for that to happen, so many stars would need to be in alignment. Like,
sure,
one Konami giving Sony the blessing, Sony probably paying like a royalty to actually own the license, and then like that's a type of game that like Santa Monica like hasn't even come close to developing. Like a Metroidvania side-scrolling thing, like that's just not in their repertoire currently.
But then also, like, they haven't put out a Castlevania since 2014. So, like, you're not doing anything with the license. Like,
yeah.
And man,
they had the anime.
If you haven't played,
there was an anime.
And if you haven't played, oh yeah, it was super popular, super popular. So like, there's obviously demand for a game right now. And if you've played Ragnarok or 2018 God of War, you can feel the subtle Metroidvania style elements in those games already. So like you can tell. I think it actually, to me, especially if it was a 3D Castlevania, and you look at the implications between like God of War and the way they handled the lore and the like translate that instead of Norse mythology, Transylvania and that mythology, dude, that sounds really cool. I'm into that.
That does sound pretty fun, actually.
And so obviously this is just dreaming, but it's pretty cool when a game developer shouts out something and then you're like, wait, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Eric is the chillest dude. I don't know if you've actually listened to any of his interviews yet, but he's such a just a calming, like very approachable presence. So like to have him be the director of a very violent game like God of War is a very funny thing to me.
Yeah. I want to watch that spoiler cast, but I'm not done with the game, and it's a spoiler cast, so I'm waiting. Yeah,
he did that one. I think he did one on Podcast Beyond as well.
Oh, cool.
Both very good. All right, so moving right along. Broforce. Who here has played Broforce?
That's you, Preston.
Crickets?
I love that game.
Oh, okay, good. Me too.
It is not crickets. I was expecting Preston to blow up.
Just flip
No, I love that game. That's one of like, I think, Andy, like one of the first games that you were like, you got to play this with me. And I was like, okay.
It's great couch co-op is why.
Yes.
But
even online, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it online too?
It is online, so. but there's just something special about games that allow really well done couch co-op, and it does.
It does.
So Preston, go ahead and explain it for those listeners who may not know exactly what Broforce is, because that's all we said. It's just Broforce.
Yeah. So Broforce is, correct me if I'm wrong, an 8-bit side scroller.
Yeah, it's like a retro styled shoot 'em up. Yeah.
Yeah, but it has ridiculous characters, unlimited lives, kind of.
And the characters are like figures from like pop culture and movies, like Rambo and Mr. T, the Terminator, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yes. So they're like Rambro, Braid instead of Blade, Brobocop, Time Bro, Brochetti,
Bro Hard,
Bro Dater, Bro Heart. I'm reading them
Bro Raucus.
Yeah, like just ridiculous stuff.
I love it.
And then the Expanda Bros. which is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's every 80s and 90s just male
Like action hero.
machismo action hero that you can think of.
Yes, and like the logo is a bald eagle with muscles and the star, and
Yeah, there's a little bit of a parody on just America in there too.
Oh, it's like hyper
ridiculous.
masculine Americanism. Yeah.
100%.
Everything is destructible. Everything, walls, ceilings, floors, anything that comes at you.
Yeah.
I know you can also edit levels. You can share levels.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of like a lower res, even like version of like Contra or like Metal Slug. If you play those,
it's got a Metal Slug vibe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those old like arcade games. So it's just you have a gun, and like what's cool about Broforce is that each character like has their own fighting style. Like they almost always have guns or something that they throw, but like they're all unique. Like Rambo has like a machine gun, and like Blade has his sword, and yada yada yada.
And it's Devolver Digital, who at this point as a publisher just chooses the best games. I mean, they just kill it in the indie game market.
Yeah, it's super cheap too. I think it's like $12 to $14, something like that.
Yeah,
it's on every platform, including Mac. Like.
Very cool. Yeah, so the reason that we talk about it, though, is it's getting an update. So we have a major update coming from Broforce in 2023. It's been announced. Luke Plunkett, again from Kotaku, says, after spending a little while updating the game's roster with new characters and some new challenges for the next few years, things went quiet. It was natural to assume that Broforce, as wonderful as it had been, was now done. But no. Now, when we need them most, the bros are back. Publisher Devolver Digital drops this trailer over the weekend, teasing Broforce Forever, an update for the game that's coming early 2023. Actual details are sadly thin on the ground, but with Devolver simply saying Broforce Forever will be the biggest update to Broforce yet, and will feature new bros, new missions, and most importantly of all, new freedoms.
Yes. The trailer is ridiculous. Yes. You're fighting the devil. I mean,
I actually didn't watch it yet, but I'm all for anything Broforce. I had a lot of fun with it.
I never beat the game, but the loading screen on the original Broforce is a giant picture of the devil. So I always assumed that's where it would lead. But
yes, but let me just say this: can I spoil? I'm gonna not spoil.
Yeah, I wouldn't spoil it.
But there are multiple ways to end the game.
Oh, cool! Didn't know that.
I'll say it that way.
I haven't beaten it either. I've just played a bunch.
The funny thing is the game could be seen, and I think pretty easily, especially in politically, like a little bit insensitive at times.
Oh, 100%.
Like, yeah, but that's kind of the point, right? It's satire.
Yeah, but it's like, let's invade Cambodia. And then it's like, no, it's like, go kill those natives. You're like, okay. But it is the point. It's just they go kind of hard is all I'm saying.
Yeah, agreed.
I think it's fun, but yeah.
Yeah, Preston, what's your excitement level for this? I can guess.
I'll definitely pick it up. It looks fun. Is it a paid update? I don't know. They haven't said anything.
They said they used the term update though, not new version,
not DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe
it looks like it could be. I have it on PlayStation. Same. It's so fun.
Maybe that's what we play tonight.
I know. I was about to say we should play tonight.
I'll be down.
But Andy's going to play that boy game.
I would maybe jump onto Broforce for a second.
Dad of boy.
I'll have to download it, and it'll take a second. I might even just play God of War and listen to you guys play.
Let's do it. Party up. Squad up.
Party up.
All right. Next thing on the list. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are now out, and they apparently are a technical mess. Andy,
trash.
Do you want to read this one? You probably know a little bit more about it than I do.
Yeah, sure. So Pokemon Scarlet Violet, it came out 2 weeks ago, I think. It came out right around the same time as God of War Ragnarok. And this is an IGN article by Rebecca Valentine. And honestly, I can just read this quote, and it's a little brutal.
Bring it.
The frame rate is all over the place, dipping and agonizingly low, even when only a few effects, such as flowing water or weather on screen. Character models only a few feet away pop in and out, sometimes rapidly, or chug along at stop-motion animation speeds. Everything has a weird shimmery blur to it, and shadows frequently disappear and reappear suddenly and illogically. Pokemon clip in and out of walls or floors at odd angles or get stuck in them entirely. I spent an entire gym battle with one Pokemon halfway buried in the floor. The camera will occasionally clip through mountainsides and give full view of a video game void, sometimes ruining cool moments, like, for instance, the evolution of my Wooper. Everything lags all the time, from battles to menus to cutscenes. 2 of our guides riders have experienced hard game crashes. It is, by far, the worst running Pokemon game I have ever played, and among the worst running AAA games I've played on the Switch so far.
Damn.
And yes, this is with the Day 1 patch.
Oh, ow.
Oh, man.
So obviously scathing.
They just pooped on that one.
So let's start. Are you guys Pokemon players?
No.
Yeah, I love Pokemon. I mean, I haven't played a whole lot of the recent ones, but I did play Sword and Shield. That's probably the most recent that I played.
Yeah, so me too. I played Sword with Noah, my son. And my sons are very into Pokemon. I mean, that is everything they want for Christmas is cards and games. And Noah wants this game. And I'm like, oh, man, they need to fix this thing. And even watching the trailer, I remember thinking like, see, so something that's important about this game that they're pitching is the open world, that this is like a more fully realized idea of an open world than even Sword was, which is cool that you could go anywhere. Like it's almost got like a Zelda-like quality where it's like, you want to go straight to the end, go for it. You're going to get stomped because your Pokemon aren't strong enough, but you can try. And obviously the cool part about Zelda is if you had skill, you could actually, in theory, finish the game right out the bat.
Yep.
But in Pokemon, it's not skill. You would just not be strong enough. And so it's cool though, because like I like games that are like, you want to go to the hardest area, go for it. And that you learn not to go there, not because there's a wall preventing you from going there, but from just you realize quickly, like, I'm not supposed to be here. I think that's fun. And I think it feels more free. And so obviously they were going for something bigger and better. But I think Pokemon is almost in a similar state to what WWE 2K was when was that? Preston,
2019. Yeah.
2019. I don't remember which year, where they were trying to push the envelope, but maybe we're being pushed too fast or just don't have the talent or something's going on behind the scenes where, I mean, the Pokemon company has made, for the most part, fairly repetitive games with similar systems, and they're not always known for pushing the envelope. I think Arceus did, but this game isn't Arceus. It's more of a traditional game with this open world, and it's just, maybe it was pushed out the door a little too quickly. And yeah. So, and I think we're looking at Switch hardware that is pretty old at this point and probably needs desperately an update. But Nintendo refuses to release another model because from their perspective, they go, sales have never been better. Why would we make a new one?
Mm-hmm. So maybe you can illuminate me on this. What is the difference between this and Arceus and like Sword and Well, so I understand it's slightly more fleshed out than Sword and Shield in terms of open worldness, but what's the difference between this and Arceus? Because I don't really know that one that well.
So Pokemon Arceus is much different. I would call Pokemon Arceus, first off, I didn't play Arceus, so I don't want to speak or pretend that I'm that knowledgeable on that one. That would probably be the one I should buy Noah for Christmas because it's pretty cool. But Pokemon Arceus is less about the training and fighting and more about, like, you don't even have to fight the Pokemon to catch them. Like, you can just throw the Pokeballs at them from a distance and it becomes this hunting game where you're trying to catch the Pokemon and collect them all. And it has different mechanics. Now, again, I'm sorry if I'm not explaining that well to someone who loves Arceus, but definitely write in and tell us why you love Arceus. I'd love to read that on the show because I haven't played it. I haven't played it either. But from the reviews I saw and was keeping up with, it looked different and cool and unique. And it is not, I wouldn't consider it a mainline Pokemon title in the sense that, like, people think, right? It's not quite the same type of game.
That's cool. Yeah, so they went like a completely just different direction with that one, and that's probably why it succeeded. It's just because it was so fresh and like a novelty for the most part. Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder, like, I don't have really enough experience with both of these games to know, but like this compared to like the original release of Cyberpunk on console, this sounds like it's not too far off though.
Yeah, but pretty wild that the game is that bad. That was one of those news articles that was like, we should probably read that one because again, if you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking Christmas would be fun, let's get Pokemon Violet. Be aware it's having some issues.
Buyer beware.
Some big issues.
Cool. Thanks for that. It's very informative. And I think I've actually seen some memes already with like some pretty hilarious and inappropriate glitches happening with Pokemon. So they're out there. I'm pretty funny.
So here's a good question for you guys off topic. Are you guys like hoping for any games for Christmas, like specifically that you think that you're hoping for? Because like this was one of them for me, or like Sonic Frontiers. I'm hoping to get, and maybe I would do a review of that if I got it.
That looks super fun, actually.
Frontiers,
or the deeply discounted Batman. Oh, not Batman.
He did
Arkham Knights. Gotham Knights.
Gotham
Knights. Do you mean Batman in the game instead, or were you making a very ill-timed joke about the voice actor?
Oh, I didn't even think about the voice actor or Batman's parents.
Okay, so everyone listening on the internet, he wasn't talking about the real person who passed away recently.
Just to be clear.
Yeah. All
the
good.
Voice actor. Did you guys not know about that?
I heard about it.
I forgot.
Yeah. Well, so the voice actor for Batman is named Kevin Conroy, and he passed away recently.
Almost all like the animated ones, obviously. Not any of the live action.
Yes, animated. I've seen some pretty cool pictures by like Mark Hamill, who voices the Joker, saying like it's a lot of throwback pictures have gone out of him passing away, which is definitely sad because he was the voice in all the Arkham games too.
Yeah, very very talented voice actor. That's really cool.
Anyway, didn't mean to bring that one up.
No worries. If I was hoping for a game, yes, it'd probably be Gotham Knights or Cyberpunk. But I usually don't ask for games for Christmas. Like sometimes I do, but I'm also a musician and a camera nerd, and so I'll ask for like accessories and things like that for like my guitar or
Makes sense.
like lens filters or something nerdy like that.
I'm gonna get you new Pokemon Snap so you can take all your photography dreams come true.
That'll up my game. Thank you.
That's what made me a photographer, videographer.
Pokemon Snap.
There it is.
On the N64.
That's what made me a guitar player. Was Guitar Hero.
Dude, I still throw apples at people to get them to like do things for me.
Dude, real talk. Like Rock Band and Guitar Hero. Like what happened? Like where are they? Bring those back. That's what I want for Christmas. I want Guitar Hero.
I think it got oversaturated. There were just too many of them.
Man, I just want the OG like 5 buttons on a tiny controller. Like give me some more Dragon Force. Give me some more Metallica. Just that. Man,
you should play.
I need to put that on my top game list.
Have you played a rhythm game in a while?
No, and like I don't have VR, so I was like Beat Saber kind of interests me a little bit, but no, I haven't played any other rhythm games in a bit. But I was really good at Guitar Hero.
So the ones recently that I would recommend that I know about are Metal Hellsinger came out recently would be a really cool where you shoot to the beat. Like you have to shoot and reload on the beat, which is what a cool concept. If you have an iPhone, Sayonara Wild Hearts, that used to be on the Apple Arcade, was a really cool game you could check out. And then the other ones I was going to suggest were there's Thumper. If you had a VR especially, Thumper is wild. Thumper's really cool. And there's some pretty cool ones out there. There was one more I was going to mention. I can't think of it. Oh, there's one, it's a Zelda game. Zelda rhythm game. It's called Cadence of Hyrule. Check it out.
That's wild. They came out with a Kingdom Hearts one recently too.
You have to play a 2D in the style of Link to the Past, but to the beats of the music, and the enemies shoot to the beat too. So you're like, there's this cadence to play in the game. Pretty cool concept. Check out the trailer.
Interesting. All right, cool. Preston, what about you? What's on your gaming Christmas list?
I don't think I would like a new gaming chair. That's what I want.
Ooh, real talk, for sure.
That's what I want.
I've had a Secret Labs chair on my list for a while, but those are so expensive. I mean, compared to like a nice office chair.
Do you want like a gaming chair? You don't want it to like look gamey, right? You'd want it to look kind of.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. I just want something more comfortable, honestly.
Yeah, that's fair. Don't you guys feel like gaming chairs or gaming? They go too hard. Like I'm like I don't want it to look like
neon.
Warren. I don't want it to look like Warren Buffett sits in it, and I don't want it to look like Ninja sits in it. Like, can I have something that's like, in the middle
that like a dad sits in?
Shout out Secret Labs. Cool you guys need to get us for a review, and then we can just each have a chair, and it'll be great. But Secret Labs actually has some really nice, like they're gamer. So they have like the racing style seat, but they have some really subdued colors and like minimal branding, which I really like. And so that one's been high on my list. And compared to like a really nice office chair, they're actually not that expensive. Like they're pricey, but
they're about the same.
Yeah, as like a decent office chair, and they're much more supportive.
What I want Secret Labs though to do is like, for example, they had a Witcher one, and I was like, oh, it has like just the 2 swords on the back, and I was like, that's so clean. Like it has enough to show one of my favorite games, but it's still minimal. And then on the front, it had like an obnoxious logo, and I was like, I hate it. Like you ruined this really cool. Oh, they have a really cool Star Wars one. That one's cool.
Are you looking right now?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Can I have the purple and bright blue Fortnite one?
There you go. Or get the League of Legends one.
Oh, there's a cool House of the Dragon one, but it's a little obnoxious. I'm going to be honest.
I just want like the black.
I just want the dark charcoal with like the soft weave material. Like I don't like leather chairs really, but yeah. Anyway, that's another thing for my Christmas list.
They are expensive, though.
Very expensive.
The Batman is probably my favorite minimalist one, but I'm not that big of a Batman fan, so I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I bought. I buy any game I want, like really want. So there's not many.
Heck yeah, being an adult.
There's not many. Yeah, I mean that's fun. It's just getting time to play them, right?
Yeah.
The League of Legends ones are pretty clean, gonna be honest.
Nice.
Oh man, now you have me look. All right, I'm gonna get off this. Sorry, now I'm like looking down all there.
There you go.
Those are cool.
Right on. So let's go ahead and move into like a bit more of an interesting topic. Andy posed this earlier. He was listening to some stuff from IGN. So he has it called Top Games of All Time list. And there's a few questions here. So the first one is, are old games like Super Mario World objectively better than modern titles, or is it all nostalgia?
Yeah.
And we can go, there's some other questions, but I'll leave it at that for now. So the games that are, I guess, like known for being cornerstones, for being revolutionary, and for being awesome because of that fact, is that the only reason that they're still ranked as top games? Like Ocarina of Time is like the number 1 rated game on Metacritic, and it's been there since like 98.
Yeah.
Has there been a better game made than that? And then everybody's just kind of like fooling themselves and just denying that anything could ever top it. Or So let's riff on that.
So it's an interesting. So the reason I brought it up is because IGN recently, like, they rethought it, right? They said, because they have their top, and to be fair, top 100 games, top 10, any top games list from an organization that like tries to establish like we are the voice, like we like as if like the answer. There's no real answer here. This is like earlier we've already gone through our personal top games, right? But like those are only games I've played. There's a ton of games I haven't played. But from an organization, you're like, okay, they're really sampling everything. Well, for a long time, it really was like the top 10 games were all, I would call at this point, classics. They're older games, which like Preston and I riffed a little bit. Like, is Super Mario 64 really better than Super Mario Odyssey, which both are great 3D Mario games?
Yeah.
But is 64 really better? And again, it's eye of the beholder, but I would argue no. I would say if both games came out today, Odyssey's the better game. You would say Odyssey's the better game.
Here's the question, though. if both games came out today with today's graphics.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you're saying if
same game, better graphics?
I would still say, like it's the Mario games haven't, or any game, the games haven't just evolved graphically. They have evolved systems wise.
Yep, I agree with that. I'm just trying to think of
sure.
Like,
yeah, I think
if they both came out at the same time, you have to give them the same look to rank them the same.
Yeah, an even playing field. I think even with that in mind, I think Odyssey is a much bigger game and it has a lot more to give. There's a lot more to do in that game. There's a lot to be said for simplicity though, and kind of like just getting the feel right and that kind of stuff in 64. And 64 is I fondly remember that game, and I don't really think it's nostalgia. I do think it's a pretty great game. It's really, really, really fun. It's simple where it needs to be,
and that's where it's weird. Like, I'm not arguing it's not a good game. Certainly, no. It's in my top games of all time, but it's just not going to be probably top 10 or you know what I mean. It's hard to say, and it actually had me looking at my list. And I was like, oh, I should move these around because is it really better than It's so hard to say. Because I would say, like, if you made a list and you called it most impactful games of all time, oh man, modern games would not be on that list. It would be the classics, the ones that laid the foundation. So the only reason Super Mario Odyssey exists is because Super Mario 64 exists. Yeah. Like, Super Mario 64 is much more impactful. I would say like 20, 30 years from now, Super Mario Odyssey will have been beaten many times over and there will be better Mario games than even it. But Super Mario 64 will be remembered because it started it all.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It's hard because like whenever a lot of these games are rated, they are rated for their time. And so there is no rubric or scope to say like, okay, like we're going to re-review it in like 20 years, which I think does happen from time to time. But if something gets a 9 or a 10 in its day, and then 5 years later, a better version of it comes out and that also gets a 10, then like where does the scale? Like the scale is there is no like true scale really.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's where it's hard because like I even opened a GTA 1 the other day with a port on my computer, and I was like, this game is fun, but I used to love this game. Like, love, and thought it looked so cool. Was amazed how the cars could turn. This is a top-down game, guys. Like, I used to think it was incredible. But now, like Houston said, like things evolve past graphics and things like that, like just interactions and so many other things. But I would say that game created a genre or created a gameplay of some kind that no other game has. And I think the same holds true for like the Mario 64s or things like that. Like, that's why it's such a great game.
And
not just nostalgia, but also because of what it pioneered.
Yeah.
What I guess what I think a lot of times is like when I look at an all-time games list, I would not take in personally, if I was the editorial in charge of that, I would be like, don't even pay attention to the reviews 30 years ago. Like we're reviewing, in a way, we're reviewing this now, like in 2022. Like that's how I would kind of look at it. And I would say, is this a good game now? Because that's what we're comparing things to. And I do think like Super Mario World does hold up. Portal 2 100% is a fun game.
Just thinking about that game because that was what 2007.
Yes, I'd have to look
2008. Yeah, something like that.
Like those those do deserve to be on the list, I think, because they still are good games. But are they better games than, I don't know, Red Dead Redemption 2, which is like, first off, totally different games. Like in a way, we just like making lists. It's just for fun. But it is interesting, and like I was starting to think about like Noah, for example, like my son. If he were to be asked 20 years from now when he's in his 30s, like, what are the best games of all time? IGN rated Fortnite as number 79. I think Noah, because of the nostalgia he holds and what that game means for the generation of young kids today, I think he'd put it in his top 10. Even 30 years from now, which who knows what games are going to come out in the next 30 years. They're going to be nuts.
Yep.
But that means something to him. Fortnite is never not going to mean... In Minecraft, oh man, Minecraft is probably even higher.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I will agree that I think like Super Mario World is personally in my like top 20, I think. That game is just like, so graphics wise, it nails a style and kind of just stays within it and doesn't go past that limitation. And it still looks gorgeous and looks awesome and still plays well to this day. And so I think there's a lot to say for like, you can have all the technological advancements in the world, but if you don't know how to like harness that and actually like make use of it in a positive way, then you can absolutely make a much, much, much worse game 30 years in the future than we have now. Just based on that, because games like Super Mario World, Portal, I don't know, Super Mario 64, like Ocarina of Time, those all hold up, even barring graphics, I think.
And what I do think is interesting is if an original game released in like the 2000s and then a sequel. So let's take Red Dead Redemption, right? Red Dead Redemption, the original one, came out when? Red Dead Redemption.
Looking it up. Oh, you got it.
I haven't got it yet. It came out 2004 with Red Dead Redemption 2 coming out 2018. On IGN's list, they say Red Dead Redemption 2 is better. They don't even consider the foundation that the first one... They do. It's on the list. It's just way up. But they say Red Dead Redemption 2 is better.
Are you referring to Red Dead Revolver, like the very first one, or like actual Red Dead Redemption? Because Red Dead Redemption was 2010. Just clarifying that.
Oh, maybe that is what... Okay, point is that the sequel, they easily were like, is better. But then I feel like with classic games that like Super Mario World, like A Link to the Past. Like, A Link to the Past is still number 4. Well, to be fair, they put Breath of the Wild as number 1 now. And this is their list. Everyone has a different list. It's just interesting to me that it seems to me that classic games get more favoritism towards their impact than more recent games get, if that makes sense.
And that's probably true, and I don't think you can really take that away from them, though. Like,
it's not... Sure, I don't know if something's impact on other games has any metric on it being a good game today, if that makes sense. Like, it was impactful, but it's not as good as the games that it influenced. You know, again, I'm just speaking out. I'm sure people...
Wouldn't that be... And I would, as film guys here, like, would you say... I mean, the first Avengers movie wasn't as good as what it brought?
I would say that.
I don't think there's enough of a gap in those.
I'm just trying to think of other forms of media that we could compare.
I think movies is totally valid, but I think you have to go much older.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, and what's crazy too is like, okay, games are 30 years old, really?
Yeah.
40. I mean, if you go to arcade, you're pushing 40 plus years, right? You're going to the 70s. That's 50 years. Holy crap.
Almost.
But for the most part, you know, modern console gaming, 30,
late 80s,
between 30 and 35 years.
Yeah.
Correct. But like, so that's the equivalent of like movies starting to come out in the 1920s. That's like we're in the 1950s. When we have 50 or 60, 70 more years, like we'll still have reverence for Gone with the Wind. We'll still have reverence for, you know, the original Disney animated film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. But like, I don't think it's the best of all time by any means. Like, it's not the best animated film. Like, I don't know what is. That's a big debate. But it's not that. It's going to be something more modern, in my opinion.
Ice Age.
So do list.
So like when we have 80 more years of video games.
But does the list like, can you name something then? Is there anything that's old that can compare to today, or does it fade out after a certain amount of time?
Yeah, I think so. I just don't think it's from that. I think there are absolutely classics made by Kubrick and Spielberg and other, like, I'm like blanking on directors right now.
Well, I'm talking
David Fincher and like in the 80s, right?
Tarantino.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like 80s films.
But if they
Tarantino
if they released it today,
I think
I'm talking
I
like
think some of
30,
them hold up. Yeah.
40 years old.
Yeah, I think storytelling.
Yeah. Yes, I do think there's some that hold up.
Okay. I would disagree, but
I would agree with Andy. I definitely think there's some movies that hold up.
I think they could do so much better with a remake, though. And they have.
I mean, they could, and they've
also done horrible too.
Yeah, in some cases, but
I'll put it here. What's your favorite Christmas movie? And how old is it? And has it been remade? And if it's been remade, isn't it terrible? See, most of them are.
See, and this is difficult about all of this conversation. Is
Correct.
It's all relative on.
Well, it's subjective, yeah,
sure.
On you too, because
of course,
because it's not only, we've discussed this before, I think, but like it's based on, yes, was it good? And sometimes that's not even true, right?
It's age, it's personal preference, it's nostalgia factor, it's exposure,
and again,
all that kind of stuff.
And I think in the same way, video games are in a place where, let's say 1980s, right, 70s movies were, where like, I don't think God of War Ragnarok will age poorly, personally. I think we've crossed a threshold of visual fidelity where it will get better, but I don't think it's going to age in the same way that, like, I don't know, Banjo-Kazooie or like games that only had 64 bits. It's like the jump from 4K to 8K. Like, you're like, you see less and less is what I'm saying of an improvement, unless you really, really have an eye. But
okay, so you're basing.
I'm basing that off movies that I'm saying that like Saving Private Ryan, I think looks great. I don't even think a movie filmed today would look that much better. Like, you could be more stylistic. You could do
audio. You could do
you could shoot it like what's the guy who did the recent like Justice League movie, Snyder. Like, you could do a Snyder crazy war edit but it wouldn't like, that movie looks good. It does. It looks good on film, and I don't know if it'll ever be like, that looks so bad because it's so old. It looks good.
So you brought up something a second ago about, I don't even remember what we were talking about exactly, but the WWE 2K being like a flop that one year. We were talking about Pokemon.
Yeah.
And immediately I thought of WCW versus NWO World Tour on the Nintendo 64. That game was one of my all-time favorites. Like, so fun to play. And I YouTubed it and was like, I wonder what it looked like, because I had a blast. And it looks ridiculous. But I would say that was a great game.
I still think it is.
Yeah.
And I think even in today's world with better graphics, it would still be the gameplay was amazing. The wrestlers they were very polygon looking, but I knew who they were. I don't know. It was a blast. So
visuals are only a very small part of, not a very small part, but they're only a part of what makes the game good.
And I think we've been there for a little while, personally. Like, I when I look back at 16-bit and even 64-bit games, like, it didn't age great. But like, I can look back to BioShock, which I put on my top 3 games of all time. Again, it doesn't look as good as today, but it's not that bad. You know what? I still don't think, and I don't know if more time will change that for people.
Yeah, I think the PS4, Xbox One generation was the threshold for me of like, okay, like, this is like great looking. Like, we have the capability for amazing looking games, and like PS5, Xbox Series X, modern computer games with like 4K Ultra ray tracing and stuff. Like, they look better, but it's not as big of a jump. It's like you were saying, the jump from like 4K to 8K. It's like, or even like 2K to 4K. Like it's a noticeable difference, but it's not life changing like it was from like 1080 to 4K going to 4 times the resolution.
Yeah. I would have said like WCW games 10 years later, like I would have been like, oh, that looks bad. Like, but a game 10 years ago today, I'm like, it looks fine.
Yeah.
Like it's not so much of a knee jerk reaction of crap. That looks way worse than I thought.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It is just interesting. And I can't wait to see what are our kids going to consider the best of all time. And will any of these games be on that list? Because there's more games than ever. And like, go to the film comparison. There are so many movies between the start of filmmaking to now. Like, we produce more movies and shows than ever. I can't even keep up with it on Netflix.
Yep.
But now, is there a lot of shovelware crap? Yes, there is. And there's that in games too. But like, I don't even know. I'm going to be an old man like, oh, you got to check out God of War Ragnarok. And my grandchildren are going to be like, sure, Grandpa. And and because they're going to have so much to play. It's not going to necessarily be that they wouldn't think it was good. There's just going to be so much content. Like, where do they even start?
Right.
Yeah.
How will anyone make these lists? Like, making a top 100 movie list now would be a very impossible task.
Well, like you said, though, in the beginning, your top 10 list is different and will be different than Noah's, right?
Well, sure. And
so I think the same will happen. Like, as people experience and people see and things like that, they'll be like, these are the top. And we don't know either. There may be a way easier way to figure out top list.
Yeah.
No idea.
Well, what's interesting, I think, where media has a special and unique case is that, like, I haven't played all these games. I haven't played Chrono Trigger, which I probably should play Chrono Trigger. But I haven't played Half-Life Alyx because I don't have a VR headset. But, like, they rate that really, really highly. And, like, what's great about an outlet like that is they can have a team of people working together to put together what they consider definitive.
Yeah.
It's still an opinion. I just think that will become more and more of a almost impossible task as games are created, because there's just, I don't know, there's just so many.
Yeah. Like, I just looked up the top PC games. Overwatch 1 and 2. The Sims 4. Roblox. And Minecraft are the top 4.
That seems like...
Is that like popularity or reviews?
Playing. Like,
that's
most played,
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, Tetris is still at like one of the most played games ever. Of all time, period.
Yeah.
And like,
it's one of the first.
It's rated pretty high in a lot of all-time lists.
Yep.
Well, listeners, if you have any thoughts on this would be a super interesting one to get your take on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think
we got to get some feedback?
Do you think old games are better? Do you think gaming top lists are going to look the same in 30 years from now? Are we going to have any remainders from the top list now there in the future? Write us in, dadcasualpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts and talk about this some more. So to wrap today up, let's go ahead and do a little bit of dad talk. Andy.
Okay. I wasn't sure we were going to do it because I know we were going a little.
Oh, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
You had a great prompt for this one: sleep versus gaming. And I've actually talked like in one of our like dad tip sections. I've said like, go to sleep. Gaming can wait. You need sleep to function, to be there for your family, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I think you went in a slightly different direction here. So the first question you asked is, do you fall asleep while trying to play a game? I'm guilty of this for sure. What about you guys?
Dude, yes, so much. And often. It's not just
every once in a while,
it's often.
I don't, but I'm also not, I'm playing at a desk most of the time. So I'm not like lounged on a couch or something like that a lot of times. I guess in bed, if I'm playing my Switch, I will. So I take that back.
But you're not much of a night owl anyway, right? Like you even said yesterday that you're like in bed by like 10:30, right?
Yeah, there's not many nights that, I'm out past then. We're up pretty early, so.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've definitely done that, but yeah, it's mostly like me just chilling on my couch with a blanket, like controller in my hand, like really comfortable. Like I have a drink in my hand, like that kind of thing. And it's just kind of like watching a good TV show. It's like you just kind of like tune it out, and you just don't realize you're asleep, and then you wake up 20 minutes later, uncomfortable and with a pain in your neck, just holding the controller.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Thinking what happened.
I do have a comfortable couch and seating arrangement, in my opinion, and I'll wake up, controller in my hand, and be like, "What?" Like I don't even know where I am for a second. Like it's so disorienting to wake up in those environments. And it's just my guy's just standing there. Like I'm not on a pause menu. He's just like, I'm like, you just been standing there, bro, waiting to go. And sometimes I like fall. I will like find myself like falling asleep and laying down on the couch even because I'm so tired. I don't even want to get up, but I always regret doing that. But I just asked, I think that's such a relatable dad thing, man. Like, I've thought this before where like I'll buy a new game or have a new game like God of War where I'm like, I'm so excited. I think about it all day at work and I think about it all day like I'm bathing I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna get to play. Think about it. I'll be watching YouTube videos on builds and strategies, and I can't. And literally, the moment I finally sit down to play, I'm like,
yep,
I'm gonna not make it even 15 minutes.
Yep, literally,
it's a sad feeling, and sometimes I think it can be depressing.
I literally last night, Christine went to go visit her grandma, so it was just me and Rhett, and I put him down and he was asleep and I was like, sweet. And the dogs barked and woke him up and I was like, so I went and put him down. Christine got back around that time and it was like 8:45 and she could tell I was a little frustrated with the dogs. And she was like, why don't you go decompress and play some video games? And I was like, you know what? That sounds great. So I went and grabbed a drink, came upstairs. I was like, I'm too tired for this. And I just came back down and she was like, are you not playing? And I was like, I'm exhausted. And this sucks because I really do want to play. But here we are. And I just went to bed.
Yeah. No, that happens to me a lot too. I'm more of a night owl than you guys, I think. Like I think a lot of nights I'm up till 12 or 1 just because like that's just my schedule. And normally when my daughter is like having a rough time going to sleep, like I'll just like kind of pass out as soon as I can. But if she goes to bed at her normal time, I'm just kind of like wired until midnight at the earliest. I do end up getting a chance to play more than you guys just because of that. I think sometimes like that's how I was able to just kind of power through God of War just because I was like, I'm up till midnight anyway. Might as well just kind of just hang out. My wife goes to bed a couple hours before me some nights. So,
right.
But I've definitely crossed that threshold quite a few times though.
Yeah. I try not to, if it's actually impacting the rest of my life, I'll make the conscious and smart decision to just not play tonight or do whatever I got to do. But you know, like tonight before the podcast, like I drank some coffee because I was like, I really want to play tonight when the podcast is over. And I don't feel tired right now, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I'm the same way right now. I got a new guitar and that's been my can't stop thinking about it all day. I got to go home and play it kind of thing.
That's awesome.
Definitely the same vibe.
I don't have a lot of hobbies that I get that feeling about other than video games. I mean, it's one of the biggest reasons I want to start this podcast is that I love thinking and talking and playing video games. It's there aren't very many things that make you feel alive, I think. And for me, video games is one of them. And so I always think about it all day. That's awesome that you have that with music and guitar, because I don't even know if I really have that about video production and photography anymore, which is a little sad.
Yeah, because
I wish that
when it's a job, it's different. I'll say that.
Yeah, and I think that's true. I think it's become a bit of more of a job than a passion, and that can be hard. After I've done it for so long too. I've done it 15 years, and it's just like, eh.
Yeah. So before we go, let's maybe give the listeners some tips and tricks for like getting like a work versus life versus sleep versus gaming balance versus family balance. and what seems to work for you guys?
I was telling Andy this. When was that? Yesterday, Andy? Was talking about how with Rhett's school right now, well, it's more like daycare, but we've started getting up earlier, which has been great to be able to spend time with him, then get right to work. And then when he gets home, spend a little more time with him. But I don't feel as guilty because, it feels like when the kids get home from school or whatever you're doing, you're eating, you're bathing, you're going to bed, for us at least.
Yeah, wait till homework enters the equation.
Right. And so doing that right now, I was feeling guilty because I was like, I'm not spending any time with him at night. Whether I was working or he was sleeping or whatever it was. So getting up a little earlier, it sucks. It's not my favorite thing to do, but get a little bit more time with him. And then like tonight, I didn't feel at all guilty for being like, Christine, I'm going to do the podcast or whatever.
Yeah, you already had time with him.
Yeah. And so I think that has been good. I think also, and some guys and Andy was in this group chat too, but talking about like not everything works perfectly for every family. So everyone's different. That's just how we work, is getting up earlier and making Rhett get up early with us so we can all hang out. He doesn't usually want to get up immediately, but it definitely has helped. And then I've actually been able I played some games at lunch today. That was kind of fun. So
there you go.
Throw in an hour or so of lunch gaming.
Nice. That's cool.
Awesome. Yeah. I think I would probably just reiterate the whole, just listen to your body, like kind of be aware of your situation and don't hurt yourself by lack of sleep or your relationship with your family, or make yourself less effective at work just because of games. I mean, games are great and hobbies are fun, and I think you should definitely try to prioritize hobbies to kind of keep your sanity. But if that comes at the cost of a detriment to your work life, to your income, to your family, there's definitely something that needs to be reevaluated there. So said that before, but just wanted to kind of put that back out there.
Speaking of that, I heard something on that, Houston. I read something the other day that was like, your body needs rest and it's up to you if you do it or your body does it. Yeah. Like if you don't give yourself rest, your body's going to break down. Like, and it's not going to be at an opportune time either. You're going to kill yourself. You're going to,
And I would also, I might, just because you guys gave tips like that, which were really good, I might just give tips for the opposite, just in case there is a dad out there that maybe you feel like every day and every moment you're working or you're taking care of your kids and hopefully spending time with your wife and getting some, time with them or husband or whoever, your spouse. But I would advocate that like rest doesn't always mean sleep. If you never get your game time, or you never get your time to golf or your time to whatever it is, the thing that you love to do, which if you're listening to this podcast, you probably do like games. I would advocate just to have good communication with your spouse and say like, hey, this Thursday, this Friday, whatever, like try to get some in. And I know we're all like, I think it's tough sometimes to support the family. You work a lot, you have to do a lot to provide. And so sometimes you do need rest and like alone time or you time, the thing that re-energizes you. Sometimes you need that. And I know that can be hard sometimes. And so I just advocate, like, try to get some of that in. I know for me in my life, especially with my wife, because for the most part with the kids, it's not negotiable. Like, I don't play games when they're awake. I just don't. Like, it doesn't work out. They're not old enough yet. They need me too much. And my wife needs me to help her with everything that they need and cooking dinner and all the other things around the house. And so after they go to the bed, really it's between work, her, or maybe play a game or do something. And I do have to be conscious about like, okay, tonight I'm going to tell my wife, hey, I want to spend time with you tonight. And then the next morning, I might early be like, hey, tonight I might play a video game, so that she knows ahead of time that like I have a plan of I want to do this tonight. And I usually bring those things up after we've spent time together, because I know like if you're constantly doing that, you're like, just make sure you prioritize time with your wife. Preston, it sounds like in your situation, you do a lot of like segmented, like if you get a little bit of time with Rhett and your wife every day, and I know for me, like my wife needs chunks, like a whole night, me and her.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. And I know that about her. And honestly, that's how I like to do things anyway. I'd rather not play games tonight and spend all night with her. And then tomorrow night, only play video games. That's how I'd like to do it. Like undistracted, I'm doing one or the other.
Yeah.
I'm not a little bit of a both person, but you know, sometimes I'll do that. But so yeah, just across the board, it's all about priorities, and just keep your mental health and your family first. I think those two things, I would argue, whatever you have to do to keep those two things first, do that.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
That's some very good stuff, and it's a great point to end on. So, listeners, thank you so much. We are very thankful for having you here, for listening to us, for just hearing us ramble and rattle on about all the nonsense that happens in the video game world, about our struggles and successes and funny things that happen as dads. If you want to hear more, please let us know by emailing us at dadcasualpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to hear anything specific, you want to throw us some topics, ask us some questions, anything like that, we'd love to hear from you. But with that, I think we are good to go. We're heading out. Later.
Bye, guys.
Peace.